The battle, the site, the ultimate clash between internal self-doubt and positive feedback can cause quite the battle inside an artist's soul. But how does the eternal conflict affect our creative process? An artist, one that is particularly self-critical, might receive glowing praise from their peers and, their audiences, despite their external validation. So they're like, their comments from their friends and their loved ones. They'll often struggle with their own internal negative view of their own. This struggle is deeply connected with something that is very common across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. Imposter syndrome. This is where an artist can feel like a fraud, despite evidence of their own skills and success. This is something that I can understand myself. Looking back on some of my old artwork, I remember some of my friends and my family telling me that, the work was amazing, beautiful, gorgeous, But in retrospect, when I look at it again in my older years, it is very, very, very immature. In truth, as time passed by, the overwhelming desire to be good overshadowed the truth. And I knew it in my heart's heart that what they were saying wasn't completely the truth. This kind of highlighted how continuous, uncritical, compliments can create an illusion almost. It can disconnect from perceived skills to actual abilities. Think about it. When every piece, regardless of quality, is met with a high level of praise, it becomes difficult to create a realistic benchmark of what is good and what is bad art for yourself. You start questioning the sincerity of the feed, wondering if people are simply just being kind or, genuinely seeing the merits of your. For me, it was like something just didn't match up. I knew that I needed to change. I knew that there was levels that I needed to hit. So not every single piece can be that good. And because of that, you start to doubt yourself because there's no negativity that's coming into the feedback that's being provided. You start questioning everything because you have eyes. I have eyeballs. I can see things, people. Only receiving positive feedback really played into the imposter syndrome that everybody feels and nobody wants to talk about. The big pink elephant in the room. Whoa, look at me, so cute. Oh. Now, what I'm saying is compliments aren't bad. They can really help navigate when it comes to negative self-talk within an artist. And as we all know, negative self-talk is like the bread and butter when it comes to the imposter syndrome. You gotta fake it until you make it, but it still feels unnatural. Components in positive feedback can help somebody feel that if they fake it till they make it, and somewhat you're on the right path at least. You're basically validating their efforts. This is going to boost their confidence, allow them to move forward and feel more secure in the ability and less exposed, less like a fraud, a fake, a phony, a swindler, a charlatan, and a bamboozler. The reason why I'm bringing this up in this video is because in the past, past recognition has felt so strongly like a lie to me that as new artists, I feel like it's something that we definitely need to, address and kind of talk about and how to navigate those waters when, you're showing your artwork, you're being exposed, and just having that self-confidence while shutting up the negative side that is screaming in your head. Remember one day I was going through some of my old artwork and I was looking at some of the pieces. Personally, I saw when I was talking to my friends and my family and they were giving me, those positive feedback, I saw a huge gap between my beautiful earlier pieces and my current piece. And it made me doubt their honesty, which also then in turn made me doubt strangers' honesty. Because what is a stranger gonna offer me that my friends and family are gonna offer me? I don't know. Friends and family is supposed to tell the hard truth. Tell me the hard truth. I want to know the hard truth. Before YouTube, before I actually posted on Instagram or, shared it with other people, there were two people that I often relied on that I would feel the most comfortable with and show them like what I was drawing, whether it be good or whether it be bad. And their feedback became extremely important to me. So when I was looking through a lot of the older artworks, it confused me even more because it didn't match up to what I was seeing from before to what I was seeing now. So I had that conversation with both of those parties individually. One of them came back with a response which was really good, and it clarified things for me. They said, "I never saw you as needing criticism. You were good, but it was based off of your capability at the time, not perfection you were aiming for." The other person admitted to avoiding the negativity and fear of discouragement, which, while the pieces were good, there were also small little tweaks that needed to be made. Both of them made extremely good points. One, some people aren't going to point out every single error that you've made in a piece, so it goes blindsided by you as well as the other person, because what you're really seeking for is criticism, a way to improve, a way to grow. While the other person basically explained like, yeah, you were good objectively, but that's not what you were asking at the time. So there was like a miscommunication between the two of us, where when I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this piece?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's amazing." When I was trying to find out like, perspective is off, if you move that line a little bit up, this part is confusing me a little bit more. That way I would be able to take that feedback away. Yeah, it was good, but it didn't mean that it didn't have areas that needed to be fixed. So this is where that disillusion comes into play, where my self-doubt and the imposter syndrome starts screaming at me because it's not matching what I've been told and what I see, and positive feedback that people are sharing. All in all, this revealed two truths. One, I didn't communicate my needs very well. And two, I did a horrible job accepting the genuine feedback that I was receiving. The pieces worked. They were just good for what I was capable of at the time. Wasn't a lie, wasn't a misdirect, but our perception of what is good and what is not good was different, I guess you could say. When artists get stuck in the like self-doubt, they get stuck in a loop and then start to dismiss all of the compliments and all of the hard work they did to get that. And the bad thoughts start to come in, and it's just like, they praised my bad work before and they were insincere, so they must be lying about the new stuff too. Personally, I think that there has to be a balance. While the compliments can be beneficial, they should be paired with some sort of constructive feedback. Obviously, this needs to be communicated beforehand, because otherwise you run into a sticky situation like myself. But that is the best way for an artist to grow. Since having the talk with my friends, not only do they still offer me that positive feedback and go a little bit more in depth in areas that they like and what areas that they don't like, but they also provide me with true, honest criticism. Because of this, my artwork has significantly grown and significantly changed. So negative feedback is not necessarily always negative. It can help you develop and grow, but it can't be negative all the time, because then that self-doubt voice in the back of your head is just going to get louder and louder and louder. Having a support group that provides honest feedback is essential for developing any kind of realistic understanding of your strengths and your weaknesses. It can quiet the demons in your head that are giving you the self-doubt, provide you with that positive outlook and viewpoint that you may have missed or may have not seen, while at the same time giving you things to look at to better improve yourself as an artist. Ultimately, navigating the complex relationship between self-doubt and the external validation in order to get the positive feedback from people, strangers and friends alike, is a critical part of an artist's journey. While positive feedback can build confidence and combat the imposter syndrome and the negative talk within oneself, it must be balanced out with a form of honesty and constructive feedback. This, again, is my viewpoint on the matter. Don't be afraid to ask for specific critiques and surround yourself with like a specific support team that is going to give you that honest approach and genuine insight to foster both the growth and self-awareness. by learning to accept the praise, recognition of the progress that you've made up to this date for artistic development and create works that you're proud of. A little bit about the piece that I am working on. So as you guys can see, I'm using the acrylic inks once more. And I promise you, I'm going to put this down for a little bit after this video, after this art piece. I don't remember the posting schedule, but we'll see how it is. So I decided I felt like this was fitting for this conversation because the heart obviously represents your desires, your soul, like what you want and like your passion. And then of course it being covered in stone, that is my symbolization of the imposter syndrome and the self-doubt and what it can do to the heart. Obviously, the butterflies and the wisps and everything show like a form of hope, because even in those moments of darkness, there is always going to be a little bit of light. I went a little bit of a different approach. Again, I'm still playing with the acrylic, so I'm learning as I go. I'm making mistakes, and that's why I keep playing with them. I really do like them, which is why I keep using them. But I am trying some new stuff. When I was painting this, I started off with the brown shadow work. I already had intentions of covering it in like the thin layer of like the purple hue, because I wanted a lot of those tones to shine through. You'll notice that there's a lot more texture within the brown areas than what would normally be needed if it was just on a level of grayscale. Sadly, I miscalculated how deep that I actually wanted the purple to be. So when I did cover it with the purple tone, it did erase a lot of the detail work that I had put in or disguised it. So I actually had to add in a little bit more tone work with the purple than I initially anticipated, which is fine. Everything is just a learning. So I know next time that like a little bit more dilution is going to be beneficial. I did use swab tests, but it was not accurate based off of like how many times I had to go over it with purple to make sure that the saturation levels were correct. And again, we're using a different material book as well, so it's not going to behave the same as if, say, it was on watercolor. Watercolor paper, you can literally soak it before you put it in, which allows you a window of movement and being able to, put down product and pick. I do have some watercolor paper that I do plan to use eventually with these just to see how they work, but we'll get to that sooner or later. A couple of things first, a couple of things on the dock. All in all, I'm really impressed, again, with how these work. I wanted to add a little bit more detail into it, so I actually grabbed a pencil crayon and started to, outline some areas and add in a little bit more transition colors in between. And that extra layer of texture as well, really, I felt added to it. I don't know. I like the texture of the crayon over top, so I just wanted to add it. I saw somebody using it like that, and I was like, I'm going to do what they did, so I did it. And it turned out. I liked it. It was good. I will say this, though. So I initially started the outline with the red pencil, and the red pencil was fun. That was cool. The only issue that I had with the red pencil, though, is that it's a hardcore pencil, which means that in order to get deep lines, you have to really put some pressure on. Compared to the Prismacolor pencils that I was using, which I love those too. It's very rare that I get the opportunity to touch them anymore. But those ones are soft. And although they are fantastic for like shading in areas and you don't have to push hard on them at all, but keeping an edge to those was extremely difficult. And I felt like I almost sharpened away the entire pencil by the time I was done outlining some of the areas. I think I might invest in hardcore pencil crayons for these line works because I'm tending to lean more towards like warmer tones and shadow because the pencil that I'm using is red. And the reason why I'm using the pencil, let me clarify. Why are you using the red pencil so much? That is a very good question. The reason why is because I am left-handed and pencil smudges like a bee. So the red pencil prevents that smudging. I do have some stuff coming in the mail as well to give a try, so I'm gonna see if that helps me out in the future. Yeah, I have a couple of videos uploaded and everything. Thank you guys so much for so during this recording now, as I'm recording this, The White Rabbit was released. Sorry, I don't know what my videos are called. The White Rabbit was just released, and the feedback that I'm receiving and the conversation, this is what I've been looking for this entire time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love to hear everybody's feedback. I love to see what everybody's up to and what I hope you found this babbling tangent helpful in some way. If you are as passionate about art as I am, please don't hesitate to subscribe and hit that follow button. Join us on the conversation. I'd love to know, like, how do you guys cultivate a community that provides not only generalized feedback, but also offers that encouragement where you're not going to allow that self-doubt to like really cloud your mind. Other than that, yeah, go touch paint. Bye.